Well, hey there, friends, and welcome to the Raising Amazing Tween Girls show. I'm so happy to have you along with me today. I have a great show just for you. So whether you are just starting your day and are fresh with a lot of energy, or you are starting to wind down and are chilling for the day, I'm so proud of you for spending some time thinking about your momming and about your tween girl. I'm Lisa Tony with Girl Tribe Nation, and I am passionate about supporting tween girls and the moms who are raising them. If you have a daughter between the ages of 8 and 12, then you are in those tween years. As tweens, they aren't teenagers yet, but they are definitely starting to transition out of the little kid stage. Those tween years is when the puberty train rolls into the station and everything starts to change. Well, today's episode is all about timing, specifically why girls hit puberty before boys do. I had the funnest conversation with my 11-year-old boy the other day. We were just starting to talk about puberty and the body changes that he was going to be experiencing as he begins puberty. And I was telling him about how boys usually start puberty a little bit later than girls do, which he was kind of bummed out about. I think he was pretty excited to get to this next stage of starting to get older. Well, his sister is 15 months older than he is, and so she is full in the midst of puberty. And he finally said, "Mom, why do girls get to start puberty before boys?" I said, "I don't know, honey. That's just how God made us, I guess." He said, "Mom, I think I know why." I said, "Well, why, buddy?" He said, "Well, you know how girls have to get their whole baby maker developed and stuff? That probably takes a long time. I think that's why they start earlier." Why, yes, that does take a while, my son. Good call. So I'm going with what he said, and maybe we'll add a little bit more to that today. Why do girls start puberty before boys? Now, I know, if you are a mom of both genders, I can hear you answering me right now. It's a maturity thing. Boys aren't ready yet. Boys mature later than girls. Oh yes, I have two of each. I hear you, I know. Now, honestly, it is not that much earlier. 5th grade is the year when the majority of kids, all kids, boys and girls, start to experience body changes. Those 5th grade classrooms get a little stinky. I mean, God bless those 5th grade teachers. I think they should make deodorant a requirement for their back to school boxes. You know, folders, paper, markers, pencils, erasers, and deodorant, just to keep it in their desk. 5th grade is usually the hallmark point when a lot of schools offer some type of sex ed because so many of the kids are experiencing body changes because they've hit puberty. Now, sex ed is changing quite a bit. It used to be basic body changes and basic reproduction that was taught. But now the state is including a whole host of other items for our kids as they expand this to comprehensive sexual education. Now, I've looked a lot at these curriculums and I worry it's a bit too much for them as puberty rolls in. And puberty itself is just overwhelming enough, and they're putting a lot of adult content into this curriculum. So I want to encourage you, be sure to review all the curriculum that your kids are going to be sitting through, because you can always choose to opt out of it if there is content that you and your family are not jiving with. I have found our state curriculum to be way more sexually explicit, way more encouraging of sexual activity and sexual experimentation than I am comfortable with. And that's one of the reasons that I actually started Girl Tribe Nation. It was to help out our tween girls, those girls ages 8 to 12, to understand that they can be smart and healthy and brave and live with a whole lot more happy in their lives when they make decisions for their lives that will protect their bodies. And really refrain from the pressure that is so strong for a casual sex culture. I want our girls to be able to make plans for their future health and happiness. And if they want to have healthy marriages and have kids someday, they need to be able to have exposure to ways to make decisions that say no to some of this peer pressure. Making wise decisions is foundational for them, and it is foundational at this age as tweens because their bodies are changing. And so it's a great time to not only learn about these body changes, but to start to have these discussions that will give them a foundation for what to think about as they try and assess how they're going to live their lives. Now we try and make that easy for you by giving you mother-daughter great dates that are all prepped for you that you can save to your phone or download and print and then roll on out to some fun froyo or Starbucks and have some discussion. I've got the questions already ready for you, so you don't have to stress about it or think about it. You can just download them and have some fun. So I want to invite you to head on over to girltribenation.com/dates to check some of those out. I also have for you today an extra special free webinar that I've put together just for all the mamas in the house. It is going to be a webinar where I am going to talk to you live and share with you the 3 secrets that every mom needs to know to help her daughter thrive in puberty. And I would love to save you a seat. But you do need to register for it. So I want you to head on over to girltribenation.com/webinar and pick a time slot. I'm going to do the class on 2 different days in April, a Thursday and a Sunday. So you can pick whichever day and time is going to work best for you. I would surely love to have you join me for a 1-hour chat. It's going to be super fun and I think super helpful to you. And I'm also going to share with you my Growing Up Girl class. That's an awesome opportunity for you and your daughter to spend 6 sessions talking through body changes in puberty. Now, puberty, it's that time when our girls' bodies are going to go through those changes. They've got both internal and external changes happening. In the typical 4-year span that we see most of these changes happening, it's when she's going to reach her adult height and her body proportion. Now, she's also going to develop her external kind of sexual characteristics like developing breasts and getting her body way more curvy. And during puberty is when she becomes able to reproduce. I know, it's crazy. Their bodies are changing, and so that means our parenting needs to change. We need to be able to keep up with all of these changes. Now, I had to practice saying all the words that I don't normally say out loud just to get more comfortable with them when I started talking to my kids about puberty and body changes. So we definitely don't want to avoid these conversations. Talking about sexuality in a healthy way that gives the right amount of information at the right time is super helpful to our kids. Sexuality is not something that we want them to be ashamed of or feel like it's secretive or hidden. It is a beautiful thing, but it is for grown-ups in a committed relationship. I'm actually a big supporter of the marriage relationship as the best place for sex because it offers the most protection for our girls, for their emotional health, for their physical health. And I also think it's the best place for pregnancies to happen and children to be raised. But we can talk more about those ideas later. Back to our puberty discussion today. Puberty thankfully lasts for about 4 years intensively, but it does actually extend all through teenage years, which gives all the physical and the psychological changes of puberty some time to develop. And it gives our kids some time to adjust. So why do girls start puberty before boys? Well, they don't really. It is all about the same time frame of these pre-teen years. However, girls start showing more physical outward signs earlier than boys. From a historical standpoint, girls were often expected to get ready to bear children and marry younger than they do today. Their hormones would start activating their bodies to get ready for this, so that about 1 to 2 years later, when boys hit puberty and were getting more interested in sexual activity, the girls would be physically ready for this. Now, thankfully, most cultures are allowing our tween and teen girls more protection and more time to grow up. They are no longer expected to jump into childbearing so early. Our girls have a longer window to decide when they want to start a family. They can do a lot of goal setting and fulfill lots of great things like going to school and starting jobs and careers and doing adventures and exploring the world. They have so many more options available to them. But historically, this is why girls often were thought to start puberty a little bit before boys. But again, it's all right in that zone between 8 to 12. So girls sometimes will start showing some of those signs earlier than boys. Now, girls are also starting puberty earlier because some of our foods have high levels of estrogen in them. This can cause girls to start puberty earlier and can actually delay boys from starting puberty a little later. Food that has high levels of estrogen are things like flax seeds and edamame, soybeans, dried fruit, berries, peaches, sesame seeds, garlic, tofu. Now, I know these are all healthy foods. You're like, what? I know, and they are all healthy foods, and in moderation, they are absolutely fine for our girls' diets. But there are some studies that do say that girls that drink soy milk tend to start puberty earlier. So if that is a reality for your family and you do a lot of soy, you might want to check out some of those articles and see if that might be impacting your daughter. All right, friends, well, we are going to finish up our chat for the day. Thank you so very much for joining me. I love having you join me each week. Have you hit that subscribe button and left a comment? I sure hope so. Your support has been so amazing. So here's to raising amazing tween girls. I am cheering you on every step of the way. I believe that tween girls can be smart and healthy and brave and live with a whole lot more happy in their life. We get a chance to pour into these girls and help them establish a solid, healthy identity so that as they become young women, they can thrive. Speaking of thriving, don't forget about the upcoming live webinar that I'm hosting, 3 Secrets Every Mom Needs to Help Her Daughter Thrive in Puberty. I would love to hang out with you there. So save your seat today at girltribenation.com/webinar. Alrighty, well, I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you next week, same time, same place. Bye for now.